Hello everybody and welcome back to Costume Quest. We finally made it into the store part of the mall, which is a little more lively than how we had entered the mall earlier. I went ahead and took care of some overworld trollbogs in the time between recordings just to cut down on some video time, but I haven't done any of the story or anything like that. So I'm going to start by doing the western side of the mall on the bottom floor here, but I'm gonna go ahead and just trick-or-treat at the first store that's kind of in the middle since it's the most obvious. So we'll kind of work in a counterclockwise motion, I suppose. We'll do this side first. We already kind of did a lot in this middle section of the mall. So immediately on the upper side of this side of the mall, we have a camping store. And this is where we're going to find Sadie and her battle stamp stand. That's my little Sadie over there, the budding entrepreneur. She insisted on coming to work with me tonight and setting up her own little pretend shop. Guess she really wants to be like her old man, eh? So that's cool. She's actually setting up in her dad's store. There is a kid over here against the racks for our trick-or-treat game, our hide-and-seek game. There's also a chest with some candy in it, and we have a lot of candy to do some shopping here at Sadie's store. Are you kidding? You guys are my best customers. Wherever you go, I go. Now I know you're not here to camp, so why not buy a stamp? Will do, Sadie. We've got a couple of good ones here. I'm definitely going to buy the Witch's Brew. That's probably one of the more useful ones. Depending on the situation, it can be really, really helpful. We can buy the Jawbone of the Wolf, which is basically just a better version of the attack power badge that we have now. So I'll probably go ahead and equip that one right away. And we can buy one more badge, either the One-Eyed Vampire, which allows us to get more HP recovery per turn, or the Toilet Paper, which will stun an enemy for 2 turns. Let's go ahead and get the Vampire Bat badge. And I'm going to go ahead and equip the Jawbone of the Wolf on Everett to give him some more attack power. And if I wanted, I could use the first level of this badge on Ren. Basically, if I wanted to just be totally offensive and not worry about the defensive capabilities at the moment. So once you've left that store, you kind of want to stay on the upper level here because there is another store to trick-or-treat at. And luckily it's a grown-up who's just going to give us a free pass, basically, by giving us some candy. There's a kid here to talk to, but he's not part of our hide-and-seek game. Imagine if he was, he wouldn't even be trying. There's a giant pumpkin with a treasure chest, but we have to get to that from an upper level, actually. And then we're going to want to come back and talk to this lady and this gentleman here, the 2 people in the orange coats, a little bit later on. So just remember where they are. We have a bunch of kids here guarding the escalators. A scary monster told me to stand here and send all kids to the arcade. I mean, not a monster, just a normal person. Uh-oh. Please go to the arcade. They said I could see my parents again if we send more kids to the arcade. Who? It's doing some child slavery here, apparently. My goodness. So I opted to take care of this part of the mall first because we're going to have to go to the arcade now on the eastern part of this floor. You can see they're guarding more escalators. There were some loose monsters roaming around in this area, so I took care of them. We have another lady in an orange coat that we'll have to talk to later on. So let's start with these 2 stores before we go into the arcade. The arcade is the key to getting onto the upper floors. So I figured we would do all the trick-or-treating first, just to get that out of the way so I don't forget to do it, before we move on with kind of our story stuff. So I'm curious now to see how much more attack power we have with that badge. We've only got 2 enemies, so this shouldn't be too hard. But you can see that they've beefed up quite a bit and they're level 6. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of the one with less health first. Oh, that's beautiful. About 66, which is not bad. I think because we need to level up a little bit first, it will probably take us another turn to defeat this enemy. But luckily he had attacked Ren and the counter-strike kicked in. And that just makes this battle go by that much faster. And the reason I think I've kept the counter badge on instead of the attack power badge is because if it lands and it works successfully and you can actually take advantage of that badge, it is more effective than the attack power one. But we've had pretty good luck so far. I think out of all the stores on this floor that we trick-or-treated in, I think there was 5 of them in total. 4. Out of the 4 that we hit down here on this bottom level, there was only 1 enemy, which isn't too bad. Before I go into the arcade, you have a kid over here next to this fries stand hiding, wearing a skeleton costume. And he's the 3rd of our hiding kids. That's pretty much it for this floor for right now, so we can go ahead and head into the arcade. Grab the chest behind the counter here for 20 pieces of candy. I wasn't expecting so much business on Halloween night. I wonder why these kids back there aren't trick-or-treating. Well, I smell some funny business going on, especially because I see Bojan here. What's going on here? Hi, I can't really talk right now. See those monsters over there? They're making us play games and trade all our tickets for candy. I don't know why they need so much. Maybe you guys can distract them or something while we sneak out? Yeah, this is a real pain. Man, why did we come here instead of just trick-or-treating? Quit your yapping and get back to work before Mr. Bojan gets mad. Alright, so let's take care of these bullies here. I recognize these kids. I hate these kids. And despite the fact that we're getting into another fight with Bojan, he is not as difficult as he was before. He's just a regular enemy. As you can see, he's kind of lost his boss status, I guess. You don't have to worry about the megaphone in this fight, and you can just attack him like a normal enemy, so... we'll take care of him before long. I think we have to fight him a 3rd time, actually, if I'm remembering correctly. And he's even easier then. And we should be able to take care of this grubbin before long here. Get a nice bit of experience for that, though. And most importantly, we can save the kids too. In order to save the company money, I've decided we should run through this hole instead. They're probably headed straight for the mother lode. Let's follow them. Someone left this on one of the arcade machines. Maybe you can use it to make a costume. Aha, so we're gonna get another new costume as well. For now, we're gonna go ahead and follow them into this tunnel. And at the fork here, we're gonna go south and follow this short train line. And basically all this has is some chests. So we've got the sparkly fabric in that chest. And then we also have a chest with some candy. Now I do believe that this banana here is part of our hide and seek team. At least now I can split. Hee hee. So we're gonna get that kid early rather than waiting till we get up to that floor. And if we follow the tracks, we run into another kid. This is Lucy. I'm just investigating the mysterious malfunction of this monorail. No mystery, it's monsters. Well, I'm a scientist, so I don't believe in fantasy. These monsters are merely an unfamiliar species from a distant galaxy, who have traveled here via a perfectly scientific wormhole in space-time. They're magic. No time to argue. The monsters have kidnapped my brother and we need to get him back. May I suggest we unify our powers of fantasy and science to fight them? You mean a fellowship? A fellowship. Now can I trade you these sweatpants for a costume? Sure. Alright, so Lucy is now in our party. And she gives us a costume material. So we get our third party member, and it's up to you at this point what costume you want to put on her. So now that we have another party member, there's just going to be one of your 4 costumes that you're not going to be using. So it's kind of nice to have a third party member because you can now focus on dealing a lot of damage with costumes like the robot and the knight, and then you can have your third character as your healer. So I'll probably leave the Statue of Liberty costume on her for now. Mumble, mumble. Observation. Non-human sounds ahead. Monsters! Endorsilla, can you make out what they're saying? You let me down before, Bojan. Did I make a mistake by offering you a second chance? No? Ugh, just hurry up with the candy, okay? I'm going to go back to the mother lode to make sure, wow, Metzl isn't asleep at the wheel. Why is that so hard to pronounce? Metzl, I guess? Those monsters are using the monorail to transport candy. I think it's time we cleared the tracks. Alright, so we gotta fight him again. Oh, also, before I forget, I should really put a stamp on Lucy. So, I'm not really sure which stamp I want to put on her. We have another... Wait, do we have another disembodied hand? No, we don't. Okay, I was so confused. I was like, why do we have the option to switch? But I guess you can just switch between the characters. Let's put the poison badge on her. Did you hear something? You! That does it. I'm ending this once and for all. You think you're so smart. I've got more power on my team. So, I'm probably gonna just kill the Warlock first because he has the least amount of health and I don't want to deal with buffing or any of that annoying nonsense. So I'll take care of him and then we will focus on the big target here. And it's nice with the poison badge because that'll allow us to get some extra damage in as he takes damage from poison each turn. So it's really, really useful. Even, it doesn't do a lot, like I think it does like 15 or 20 damage per turn with the poison on, but every little bit counts. If it lets you end a turn earlier, or it lets you focus on another monster for a little while, it still makes things go by, you know, quicker. And I'm all for that. So having a third person really, really helps, obviously. You fixed the problem with the Mallow rail. So we can go back to the conductor now and tell him the good news. But before you do that, you'll want to walk behind the train, and you'll just be able to get some additional candy. I'm pretty sure that's it. So now we've kind of done a big loop of the first level of the mall. This will bring us right back to the beginning, starting area. It's working! Kids, how did you do that? The monsters were using it for their candy stealing operation. Haha, monsters, that's a good one. Well, whatever you did, she sure runs smoothly now. Feel free to hop on board anytime. I've got some leftover supplies if you need anything for your costumes. Well, thank you. We've gotten a couple of different materials for a couple of different costumes. We actually get more than one in this level, so we haven't gotten the materials to make any one costume as of yet. Now that we have a third person, we can also take part in the costume contest. You're just in time for the group category. Would you like to enter? You win a new cutting-edge costume pattern. What do we have to do? Simply be our charming selves. And just between you and me, you might be able to get a nose up on the competition by talking to the judges. You'll be able to find them by their orange coats. When you're ready to be judged, just talk with me again. So even if you know the costumes that you need, you still have to go and talk to the judges. And we're already in the costumes that they want. They want the robot, the knight, and Lady Liberty. But let's talk to them anyways. Hola, amigos, I'm Mr. Mendoza. All these costumes so far have been a little old-fashioned. I would really like to see something more high-tech. So obviously he wants to see the robot. Hi, I'm Mrs. Kim. These costumes are nice, but nothing has any depth so far. Maybe if I saw something more educational. So she wants the Lady Liberty, and then the last woman will want the knight costume, and she's over here on the other side of the mall by the fry stand. I'm Mrs. Bagley. I think a winning costume would just sweep me off my feet with a little chivalry and honor. Alright. So once you have their opinions and you've put on the appropriate costumes, we can go back to the competition here. Please welcome our next group of contestants. They call themselves the Auburn Pines Monster Hunters. And then we're gonna get some positive reinforcement from the judges here. She describes my costume as magitastical. Ma bueno. Outstanding, you get an A+ for this costume. We're ready to announce our group category winners. Our grand prize goes to the Auburn Pines Monster Hunters. Hooray! So we get the costume pattern for the unicorn costume for that, and we have already been gathering some supplies as well. So we should be able to complete the unicorn costume fairly soon. After completing the arcade section, clearing out the arcade, getting rid of Bojan, and repairing the rail, you can see that the kids have moved, and we can now go up the escalators here, and we can go to the second floor of the mall. I'm probably going to take care of all the spare enemies up on the second floor just off screen on my own, just to save some time. So we can now continue to explore the mall and do more of our trick-or-treating. So we will be doing that next time. Thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that I will see you next time.